You felt it. That moment when your stomach tightens as someone deeply unqualified takes charge of your fate. The boss who can't grasp what you do yet dictates how you do it. The leader who speaks with absolute certainty about things they barely understand. The empty vessel making the loudest sound. Look around you. The pattern is ancient and unbroken. Rome burned, while Emperor Nero composed mediocre poetry. Billions flowed to Elizabeth Holmes as she faked blood tests with technology that never existed. WeWork's Adam Neumann built a $47 billion valuation on empty spiritual platitudes before it all collapsed. This isn't just frustrating, it's personal. It's the promotion you didn't get while someone less qualified walked into the corner office. It's the team project where the least informed person somehow became the decision maker. It's every time you've bitten your tongue because speaking the complex truth would only make you seem indecisive. And right now you're wondering, is this just bad luck, or is there a darker pattern beneath the surface? There is, and once you see it, you can never unsee it. Picture two people walking into a leadership interview. The first sees the role in all its complexity, the competing priorities, the ethical dilemmas, the unknown variables. When asked about challenges, she hesitates, considers, then offers nuanced perspectives because she understands what's truly at stake. The second candidate sees only victory. When asked the same question, he leans forward, looks directly into the interviewer's eyes, and declares with absolute certainty, "I have the solution, and I alone can fix this." You already know who gets chosen. The certainty merchant wins almost every time. This is the brutal paradox that haunts our world. The very qualities that make someone truly competent, depth of thought, intellectual humility, ethical awareness, become anchors that drag them down in the race for power. A genius walks into a room and sees 10 possible paths. A fool sees only one and walks it like a king. This isn't just clever phrasing. It's psychological truth. The intelligent person understands the branching consequences, the potential pitfalls, the ethical implications of every decision. This awareness creates hesitation, not from weakness, but from wisdom. Meanwhile, the fool charges forward, unburdened by doubt, radiating a confidence that feels like competence to everyone watching. 5 centuries ago, Machiavelli recognized this truth while living in exile. In The Prince, he wrote words that still cut to the bone. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. The appearance of competence almost always outweighs the reality. Modern research confirms what Machiavelli intuited. A 2017 study revealed something disturbing. Intelligence helps leadership effectiveness only up to a certain point. Beyond that threshold, additional intelligence actually prevents people from rising to leadership. The researchers found that exceptionally intelligent people struggle to connect with those who can't follow their complex thinking patterns. Let that sink in. Being too smart might actively prevent you from gaining power. Your ability to see complexity becomes your greatest liability in systems that reward simplistic answers. You've experienced this yourself, haven't you? The moment you started explaining the nuances of a situation only to watch eyes glaze over as someone else offers a reductive but confident solution that everyone immediately embraces. We don't crave truth. We crave relief, and sometimes the liar is simply better at giving it to us. Remember your last moment of genuine uncertainty, perhaps a health scare, a failing relationship, or a career crossroads. Who provided more immediate comfort? The friend who acknowledged the complexity and offered no easy answers, or the one who confidently prescribed a simple solution? Our brains aren't designed for truth, they're designed for survival. And in our evolutionary past, quick decisions often mattered more than perfect ones. This ancient wiring now betrays us in a complex world. You see this in the Dunning-Kruger effect, that cognitive trap where people with limited knowledge feel supremely confident, while genuine experts recognize how much they don't know. The fool doesn't know what they don't know, which fuels their unwavering certainty. The expert knows exactly how much remains uncertain, which breeds their caution. A 2020 psychological study found that people displaying overconfidence were consistently chosen as leaders, regardless of their actual competence. The appearance of certainty was more persuasive than demonstrated expertise. It's why patients often prefer doctors who project absolute certainty, even when medical science suggests caution. It's why nuanced political positions lose to simple, emotionally resonant slogans. It's why your carefully considered ideas get overshadowed by a colleague's bold, unrealistic promises. Your psychological architecture evolved for a simpler world, one where confidence often did signal competence because challenges were more straightforward. But in our modern landscape of staggering complexity, this ancient wiring betrays you daily, leading you to follow the wrong people for the wrong reasons. And there's something even more disturbing at play. Have you ever wondered why incompetence seems to spread throughout entire organizations or governments? It's not accidental, it's strategic. Machiavelli observed something crucial about power structures. Weak leaders deliberately surround themselves with even weaker subordinates. The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler, he wrote, is to look at the men he has around him. The incompetent leader instinctively understands that competent team members pose an existential threat. They might expose the leader's limitations or eventually replace them. Instead of selecting for talent, these leaders select for loyalty and non-threatening personalities. This creates what organizational psychologists call a competence drought that spreads outward from central leadership. Like a virus, incompetence replicates itself through hiring, promotion, and social reward systems. You've worked in these environments, places where asking questions was discouraged, where raising concerns got you labeled as not a team player, where mediocrities flourished while talent fled. Consider Emperor Commodus, whose court replaced capable administrators with flatterers and entertainers, accelerating Rome's decline, or modern corporate disasters like Boeing's 737 MAX crisis, where engineers' safety concerns were silenced by executives focused only on competition with Airbus. The pattern repeats across cultures and centuries. Competence threatens insecure power. So incompetent leaders create islands of incompetence around themselves, insulated from conflicting viewpoints and constructive criticism. But why do we tolerate these systems? Why don't we recognize them and demand better? Here's where the darkness deepens. Machiavelli suggested something truly disturbing. Moral considerations often handicap intelligent people in power struggles. In his most infamous passage, he wrote, "It is necessary for a prince who wishes to maintain his position to learn how not to be good, and to use this knowledge or not to use it according to necessity." In any competitive environment, the person willing to cross ethical lines has access to strategies that morally constrained competitors do not. They can make promises they have no intention of keeping. They can undermine rivals through deception. They can exploit fears and prejudices that others refuse to touch. Consider the contrasting fates of Cicero versus Julius Caesar in ancient Rome. Cicero, brilliant and principled, ultimately lost the power struggle to Caesar, who had no qualms about crossing the Rubicon. Literally and figuratively, breaking norms his opponents felt bound to respect. You've witnessed this in your own life. The colleague who took credit for your work and got promoted. The competitor who spread rumors about your company. The leader who promised change but delivered only for their inner circle. Modern research confirms this pattern. University of British Columbia researchers found that psychopathic traits like lack of empathy were positively associated with rapid advancement when combined with social charm. This creates what game theorists call a race to the bottom. When unethical tactics prove successful, others face pressure to adopt similar approaches or be left behind. Over time, this transforms entire systems, making unethical behavior the norm rather than the exception. Each time you've chosen integrity over advantage, each time you've hesitated to use manipulation while others didn't, you've experienced this trap firsthand. But not all environments equally reward incompetence and unethical behavior. Some contexts naturally select for genuine competence, while others create fertile ground for fools to flourish. What determines which type of environment develops? Several factors. First, feedback loops and accountability. In domains with clear, immediate consequences for decisions, like surgery or bridge engineering, Incompetence is quickly exposed. But in environments where feedback is delayed or easily manipulated, like politics or corporate bureaucracies, incompetence can thrive indefinitely. Second, institutional design. Centralized power with weak checks and balances creates perfect conditions for incompetence to flourish. By contrast, systems with distributed authority and robust oversight provide structural resistance to foolish leadership. Third, information clarity. When success is easily measured and compared, merit tends to win. But when goals are ambiguous or success is subjectively evaluated, style often trumps substance. Machiavelli recognized this. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, because it belongs to everybody to see, to few to come in touch with you. Most people evaluate others based on surface impressions rather than deep understanding, especially in complex domains where few have the expertise to make informed judgments. So what can you do? How can you navigate these dark patterns without becoming part of them? At the individual level, awareness is your first defense. Cultivate intellectual humility, the ability to recognize the limits of what you know. Research shows that intellectually humble people are better at evaluating ideas based on evidence, not confidence. This functions like a cognitive immune system, helping you resist manipulation just as your physical immune system protects against infection. Develop media literacy, the skill of discerning depth from spectacle. Deliberately choose information sources that value accuracy over emotional intensity. Warren Buffett once said, "Really successful people say no to almost everything." Apply that to information. Reject most noise and focus on clarity and insight. Embrace philosophical reflection, the practice of stepping back from daily chaos to examine deeper principles. Ancient Stoics recommended daily reflection to guard against emotional reactivity. At the collective level, design matters critically. Support institutions with robust accountability mechanisms, structures that deliver honest feedback regardless of a leader's charm or persuasion skills. Foster cognitive diversity, the inclusion of differing perspectives in decision-making. Diverse teams aren't just socially desirable, they're empirically more accurate. They challenge assumptions and reduce blind spots that homogeneous groups miss. Demand transparency, rules that prevent complexity from becoming a shield for incompetence. When information flows freely, manipulation becomes harder to sustain. The paradox of power and foolishness has haunted humanity for millennia. But understanding these dark dynamics doesn't mean surrendering to them. It means gaining the awareness to transcend them. Power doesn't always belong to the loudest voice or the simplest answer. Sometimes it begins with the quiet choice to stop playing a fool's game. You might not change the entire system tomorrow, but you can begin creating islands of competence and integrity in your own sphere of influence. You can recognize manipulation when it appears and refuse to reward it. You can design better teams, better organizations, better communities based on what you now understand. Remember, throughout history, the greatest power shifts didn't come from those who played the game better. They came from those who changed the game entirely. The choice is yours. Will you continue to be frustrated by a world where fools rule, or will you use this ancient wisdom to create spaces where merit actually matters? The wisdom traditions have always taught that true power comes not from controlling others, but from mastering yourself. Perhaps now you understand why. Your journey begins with seeing clearly, and now you do.